Welcome to Finding Certainty with your host and U.S. Army veteran, Patrick Laing. Over the next hour, you'll learn from Patrick and his expert guests how to attract more certainty into your business and your life. Now, here is your host, Patrick Laing.
Welcome back to Finding Certainty, everyone. Very pleased today to have a good friend of mine, Austin Walsh, as our expert guest. I think is probably the best word for you, Austin. I was going to say special, but that sounds like you're in special needs class or something like that. But our expert guest, Mr. Austin Walsh. Thanks for being here, my friend.
Of course. Excited to be here.
So we're going to have a great conversation today. Evan is really world renowned as an online marketing funnel conversion expert. We'll get a little bit into his background here, but we've gotten to know each other over this last year, and I've been very impressed. I always start out the show by sharing a couple of reasons why I've invited this guest, and the first really is that Austin has a really unique backstory, a really interesting history for someone of his age. I mean, you're not that old, Austin.
No,
you're getting older.
I'm older than I used to be.
I think that's true for all of us, but. So his story is really interesting, and looking forward to having him share some of that with you all this morning. But secondly, one of the most important things for any business is lead flow, right? Not only new leads coming in, but taking care of those leads, taking care of our customers, and staying in touch with our client base so we can build relationships with them. And Austin is a master in this space. He's spoken all over the world about it. Continues to evolve and get better and better. And so those are the two main reasons I invited him to be on our show today. In fact, Austin is the first of a Walsh family trifecta we're going to have here on Finding Certainty.
Are you doing 3 in a row?
Not week after week, but I'm having your brother Evan on the 3rd of February, and then we're going to have their father Bill Walsh on the 3rd of March.
Cool.
I got to spread you out a little bit, mostly because I know you guys are busy. It's hard getting on your schedules. So, so you're the first. I don't know if it's first the best or last the best of all the gang. Who really knows? But it all starts with marketing, right? If you don't have leads, you have nothing. And so tell us a little bit about your background, Austin. Where'd you grow up? Family?
Grew up in Chicago. Grew up in Chicago, south suburbs. I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur when I was really young. And first business ever was the lemonade stand business. Loved it, 100% pure profit. Went from lemonade stand to DJing, and I wanted to become a DJ for a few reasons. Get paid to party, get paid to play music, and chicks. Those three things. Those three things were like the number one. If I could get all three of those, I was good.
Right. Well, when you're in 8th grade, or that's about when you started DJing, right? That's what you care about, right?
Well, I was 12, so I was in 6th, 7th grade, I want to say.
Right.
I bought this little mixer, and every graduation, Halloween party, the homecoming after parties for the high school kids, I would go, and they'd pay $300 for the night, and I'd be there all night, and it was good. I started to do a lot of gigs at a really young age. I think it taught me a lot about like networking and that kind of stuff from when I was super, super young. So right. evolved from DJing into throwing parties because I knew everybody because I was DJing everywhere. So we started to throw these big parties. I mean, our first party we ever threw was for like a New Year's Eve party when I was like 16 years old or 15 years old, something like that. We had 1,000 kids show up at $20 a head. And I'm like, okay, well, now I'm done DJing because I realized that I could make so much more money by throwing the party. So we started to throw a party once every month. We partnered with like 3 venues in the south suburbs and in downtown Chicago. And we would throw the big teen parties. And, I was like sophomore in high school doing almost 6 figures a year just by throwing parties. And it was all cash. So it was a great business.
Right. Living the life.
Yeah. It was crazy. I mean, $1,000 at 16 is like a ton of money, right? But a lot times that by 10, 12 in a night, it was great. And I was doing it all through what was at the time was MySpace and Facebook. And so I learned a lot about like, okay, how do we congregate people on these platforms to grow? And back then it was so different. You know, you didn't have ads on these platforms. They were still trying to figure out their revenue models. And so, you know, free traffic and doing things that you can't do now was incredible. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. And so I started to work for different businesses in the area to help them grow their reach, because they would pay me like $500 a month to help them grow on Facebook. So I was really good at Facebook, and we started to get like really, really good results quickly. And I started to work with some of the largest guys in personal development to grow their stuff. And before you know it, you know, we have a whole nother business that we were managing like 50 clients a month on their Facebook accounts and the Twitter accounts. And you really didn't have much else back then. You just kind of had Facebook and Twitter, and LinkedIn was starting. And
Right.
but Twitter was the big one. Facebook was a big one. And we would manage these accounts and grow them organically. And it was great. I mean, we helped Mark Victor Hansen go from like 0 to 100,000 followers. And I think he was paying me like $500 a month, and he was making like 40 grand a month off Facebook. It was awesome. Like it was super cool. And kind of turned that whole concept into a company called iSocial Academy, which we launched when I want to say right when I finished high school. I was 18. We launched that with one of my partners. His name is Adam Steele. And it was like my first foray into like real selling digital content, you know.
Mhm.
And we went from like 0 to 50 users from within 6 months, from like 50 to 1,000 users, when I started to learn like how powerful affiliate marketing was. And so we had 1,000 users, and it was a simple course. It was 6 months, and it was $97 a month, and it was on 6 different ways to use social media. So there were 6 modules, and it was like a 6-month idea. So after your 6 months, you were done. But we had about 1,000 people in the business, a little over 1,000 people that were paying us $100 a month. And then we released more content after the 6 months to keep people paying the $97 a month. And it was, I mean, fantastic. It was the coolest business ever when I was just getting into college, and we were killing it. Kind of got out of digital marketing, or kind of got out of info marketing, digital products line. By the time I was like 23, 24, I was kind of just over it. I needed a break from it. So we sold out of all that stuff, and it took like an 18-month sabbatical. And like literally I didn't do anything. I still stayed sharp, you know, and then went from there to just managing like 10 clients a year. You know, I would speak sometimes, but didn't really do too much. I was managing some really cool clients. We had a client in Chicago that was they were doing private helicopter tours. I had a lot of fun time doing blast doing that. We took their revenue from very little to a lot. They exited as well a few years after, which was great. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, I started going speaking tour again. Started to speak all over the place and really just manage clients. We went from about 10 clients a year to 40 clients a year. And then when COVID hit, obviously the whole world flipped around, right? And it was interesting. Yeah, it was crazy because like, you know, when you're out speaking about it, like it's easy to help people, but when you're just at home, it's like a lot harder to help people because you can't like tell them what to do in the same sense of like shaking them by the side and be like, yo, you need to like get leads and do this and focus on that.
Right. Let me interject real quick because I want to come back to your speaking career, talk a little bit about that, but you packed a lot into this first little bit.
Cool.
I mean, you were starting when you were doing Facebook when there were no ads, as you said. I mean, when there were
no ads,
fan pages and stuff, and you start building these great relationships. And we're not talking small names. I mean, Mark Victor Hansen is he's top 1% as far as.
We created Facebook pages for Mark Victor Hansen, Les Brown, Bob Proctor, and I want to say Harv Eker too. We created his page. Like we created pages for like a lot of big guys.
Dude, that's incredible. And it takes me to a point I wanted to make because obviously your dad is Bill Walsh. He's he's considered America's small business guru. And growing up, I want to kind of rewind just for a minute, because growing up with Bill, you obviously had a lot of exposure to some really leaders in the industry, speakers like him, celebrities, athletes, et cetera. But what I love about your story, and as you and I have gotten to know each other and talked, many people who grow up in a wealthy family, they're kind of given a golden spoon, and they're given a trust, there's they have a trust, and they kind of blow their money and they travel and
no trust here.
Get on drugs, and that's not your story. I mean, you started from a very young age saying, I'm going to do this myself. I mean, obviously you grew up with some opportunities and introductions that maybe not everybody would have had, thanks to Bill. But I love how you have become your own entrepreneur. You have written your own story. And I think it's a really important lesson, because if you have a successful business, you're looking at how do I make sure my children gain their own skills, their own confidence, their own, accountability, and so forth. And so I'm curious how your dad did that. Did he force you to do it? Did you do it naturally because you wanted to?
I didn't even know a little
bit about that.
I didn't even know what my dad did until I was probably 17 years old or 18 years old.
Is that right?
Yeah, like literally, like everyone thinks like he was the one telling me to be like an entrepreneur. I had no idea what my dad did. I knew, and I used to talk about this in like my early talks, like when I was like 20, 22, 23.
Uh-huh.
You know how like you grow up like when you're a kid and you like don't know what you don't know what your parents do, because most kids don't know what their parents do.
Right. They might have a general idea, but they don't.
When you're like 15, like you just don't really know like what they do. Like you can be like, oh, the doctor, but you don't really know what he did. Okay, so what I used to say was my dad's an entrepreneur, but I had no idea, like, one, what that even meant, two, like what he did. And he called me, I think I was like 16 or 17. I was already doing the parties. I was already doing really well there. And he called me and asked me if I wanted to come see him talk. And I'm like, talk about what,
Why would I want to do that, Dad?
But like, no, I went. I went. It was almost like one of the lunch talks, but it wasn't that. It was like a much bigger room or whatever. And I went and saw him speak, and I dug it. Like I liked what he was talking about, and I went to his first course. I went to Rainmaker, and I liked that, and I liked what they were talking about. I liked the 2-year blueprint. I liked that. I was into that stuff, like really, really into that stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I just became I just wanted to learn. I just wanted to learn, because what I was learning in high school and stuff was not working. That was not part of the training that I needed at the moment. And so I just started to go to every single conference imaginable that I could to go learn more. And not just like his conferences. I mean, everybody's conferences, right? Any conference that I could go to, I would go to.
Well, you start immersing yourself in that type of space, right? Learning from people like Les Brown and Sharon Lechter, and many of these that you are now friends with. You've been on stage with these top 1% speakers and leaders. I think it becomes addictive. You have there's so much energy and so much knowledge that's coming off of those stages, and you cannot help but want to learn more. And so, I think many people listening to this call can resonate with that. I'm just really, I was interested in that backstory though, because Bill is obviously world renowned as a business leader, small business leader, and amazing speaker. I've gotten to know him, and
he definitely helped open some of the doors with some of these personal development speakers, right? And I think it's always important that he opened doors, but I built relationships, I guess, if that makes sense. Because
exactly,
look, you can't just meet these people. Like Mark wanted to literally adopt me at a point. I used to go and stay at Mark's house once a week or once a month for 4 or 5 days because we really built a great relationship. And I tell a great story about, when I was 20 years old, I was staying at, or maybe I was 19. I was staying at Mark's house because I was helping him do the launch thing. And Mark, I'm not a morning person. I'm an evening person. But Mark woke me up at 6 o'clock in the morning he said, come on, I want to go hiking with you. Let's go hiking. And I said, Mark, I didn't bring my hiking shoes. He goes, it's okay. I checked your shoes. We had the same size. And he brought me a pair of his shoes to go hiking. And I'm just like, I still have those shoes that I'm just like, oh my God. But, we built a great relationship together. And, like Les, same thing. I help Les Massey on Facebook. That man calls me he has not missed a single one of my birthdays since I was 16 years old. Calls me every year on my birthday to wish me happy birthday, and nephew Austin. And it's one of the coolest things in the world to have a relationship like that, where I can call those guys any time of the day and they'll pick up, and most people will never be able to talk to them for more than 20 minutes,
right.
But I built so much value for them and helped them so massively with some aspects that they weren't strong at that now they're really good at. So.
Well, that's really cool. And what's incredible is you look at their careers now, and whether your dad helped introduce you or whatever, I completely agree with you that it comes down to the relationship. It takes years to serve someone, get to know them, learn how to best help them. It's a principle that any business owner should be aware of. I say the fortune is in the follow-up. And some of us are good at it and some of us are not good at it. I'm not a great person to follow up. My partner is. So, I let him do much of the relationship. I try to build relationships, but he is consistent. I mean, he's talking to people every week, and he's just he's so good at it. And I can tell you're really good at it. I can tell it's been a part of your career. I knew that from the moment I met you. And look at their careers now. Look at Les Olson's career and Jack Canfield's and knowing that you contributed to getting them where they are today. I mean, that is an enormous feather in your hat.
Yeah, it's been exciting. I think the fortune's also in the result. If you can build the result, then those relationships come quickly.
Yeah, it's funny you talk about not knowing what your dad did. My dad was telling me, I visited my parents over New Year's, and my dad was telling me the story about a friend of theirs I believe it was when they lived back in Maryland, and one of the wealthiest people in the country. And I think it was Forbes printed this list of the top income earners nationwide, and he was in the top 1 or 2 or 3. And his kids, who are teenagers, said, "Yeah, check this list out. There's a guy with your name that he's like the top earner in the country. He got the same exact name as you, Dad."
All right.
They had no idea that it was him. Right?
Yeah.
So not only did they not know what he did, but he was also very conservative. He was a kind of behind the scenes, billionaire. Yeah. But I think it's better to be that way. I think so too. There's ways we can do it. We've got to go to break here, but things we can do raising our children. I want to come back to this topic when we come back from break, but things we can do to help instill in them, not just give them a handout, not just pave the path for them. You want to lead by example. You open up doors. You may make introductions, give them opportunity.
Yep.
It's so important that we empower our kids to become who they can become. And obviously your dad did a good job with that. You've taken those opportunities and run with them. And so anyway, we're visiting with Austin Walsh, who is one of the partners in Power Team International. He owns a company called Mobex Pro, which we're going to be talking about. And he's done a lot more. Let's come back and talk a little bit about your speaking career and get into the business.
Yeah, cool. Let's do it.
Be right back, everybody.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
Certainty Management can help create more certainty in your life with our deep discount health insurance options, even for 1099s, part-time employees, volunteers, and more. Pay less to protect yourself, your loved ones, and your team. Call 888-684-3122 for a free quote today. That's 888-684-3122. Visit us on the web at CertaintyTeam.com. That's Certainty, TEAM, like Mary.com.
If you're a nonprofit in need of funding, we can help. Certainty Management is a cost reduction firm that also helps churches, schools, sports teams, and other nonprofits raise unlimited zero-cost funding. Best of all, you don't have to sell anything or ask for donations. Call 888-684-3122 to learn more today. That's 888-684-3122. Visit us on the web at CertaintyTeam.com. That's Certainty, TEAM, like Mary.com.
We're with you wherever Alexa and Google are. At home, in the car, on your smart TV, and your connected devices.
Hey, Alexa.
Hey, Google. Play my favorite Voice America podcast on TuneIn.
It's just that easy. But make sure you actually mention the name of the podcast show to make it work.
You are listening to Finding Certainty with Patrick Laing. Have a question for Patrick or his guests? Join us on the show at 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Now, back to the show with Patrick.
Welcome back, everybody. We're visiting with my good friend Austin Walsh. He's one of the co-owners, one of the co-owners of Power Team International, Mobex Pro. Also does consulting through Austin Walsh LLC, though that's not, you don't really promote that these days. It's more the other two, right? So before the break, if you just joined us, we were talking about Austin's upbringing and how from a very young age, he just had this entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, he had a great example in his dad, but really on his own, he started started DJing, started planning out events and parties. Then he got into social media. And you were one of the first Facebook marketers in America, really, if you think about it. Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
I would say, like, it was me. There was a lady named Mari Smith, who I think is still really big into it. And then, like, it went from, like, very few to, like, 300,000 Facebook marketers in like 2 months is what it felt like. I mean, it really became like, you know how like when crypto was blowing up and everyone became a crypto like expert, and then there was a bunch of, it was like that, like literally within weeks, within months, there was everybody in the world was an expert. And I'm just like, you guys have literally, like, you guys just created accounts like 3 weeks ago. What do you mean? You know? And I never like considered myself like an expert per se. Like, I grew up on the platform, so I understood the platform, you know, like, and it changed so much. The things that you could do back then were like, man, it wasn't even good. Like, I'm happy that they added some of the things that they added, and a lot of things that they added. But like, I used to be able to go to like people's pages and I could just rip all the content and just rip all the data, right, and then just transfer it to someone else's page. And it was the wild, wild west. It was a fun era to do marketing, and for sure. But yeah, I was just like a dude that, I mean, I use the platform every single day, and I marketed on the platform every single day. So I understood the platform really, really well.
Well, there was really quick, I know, adoption, but I think it's really neat that you were one of the kind of pioneers before people were doing it. You were doing it.
Yeah.
You started, and not only just doing it for yourself, but doing it for clients and helping these leaders like Les Brown and Jack Canfield and others like them to really build their careers using that medium. I know they've done a lot of other things, but that's been a big part of it. Now, transitioning to the next kind of stage in your life, you said you went to one of your dad's speeches or one of his meetings, and you thought, wow, this is pretty cool. I could do this, I think. And you started getting into this whole world of professional speaking, selling from the stage and so forth. But tell us a little bit about that transition, because I know you went on to
I went to
the world. I mean, 10 different countries or more.
We've been everywhere. I went to an event. I'll never forget. It was in Whitney, Texas. Which, if you don't know where Whitney, Texas is, it's the middle of nowhere, Texas. Like middle of nowhere. Like, you got to land at an airport, and then it's like a 5-hour drive. And I went to an event that a guy named Stephen Pierce, whether you love him or hate him, whatever, don't care, has had his drama, but I think he's great. And they were talking about internet marketing and affiliate marketing and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, what all these guys are doing, I can do like 10 times better. And I told my dad, I'm like, look, what these guys are doing, I can do way better. I could drive better traffic. And so then I went and did that. I went and built out a better process. I did the R&D, which means rip off and duplicate what they were doing correct. And I figured out what I could do better. And we launched this, like I said earlier, the affiliate program. And we went from very little revenue to over $100,000 a month in revenue. And then all of a sudden I started getting invited to speak places. Like it wasn't like, I already had the clients. I already had the success with parties. I already had like all these different pages that were doing hundreds of thousands of views a month that I was running. And then I started getting invited to speak places. And like, I was never a speaker. Like speaking wasn't my thing, but I was a DJ. I knew how to talk. I knew how to entertain. I've never had like this stage fright thing ever. Like for me, I'm like, it was easier to go and talk to at the time. And some days it still is a bunch of old people compared to go DJ in front of 1,000 kids that are my age. I would much rather go beef a talk in front of people that are 50 plus than beef a DJ set in front of 1,000 people. Cause I wouldn't come back from that one, locally.
Right. Well, those are your peers and they're also in your backyard, right?
Right. Those are my backyard
That's
peers.
your rep, right? Your
reputation. And so I started to speak everywhere. And I was, I started to do tours in Australia, all over Europe, Canada, like every city in America. And I just started to speak, and I would get paid to speak, or I would sell my product and speak, or whatever it was. And it was a blast, by the time I was 21, I was doing 250,000 miles a year, while full-time in college. Like I'll never forget, like I went to Australia once, and I was literally on the ground in Australia for less than like 28 hours because I had to get back to class. Like, what?
We were at your dad's Rainmaker here in Las Vegas last month, and we went to lunch, and you were talking about how you went to Australia. How many times was it it was a very short period of time?
I had 6 trips in 6 months.
Yeah, and by the 6th trip, you're like, I'm not going to do this again.
Like I can't do it again. Like I couldn't. Like I did 6 trips in 6 months while still speaking stateside, while going to college, while trying to have a social life. And by the time, like on that 6th trip, it was like the really quick one I was just talking about. Uh-huh. I landed back in LA, and I'm like, I landed in LA, and I had to go to another event in Vegas before I went home. And I'll never forget this trip. Like it was horrible. And by the time like I got to like LA, I'm just like, you're just so physically, mentally drained, like.
Well, it's not just
you can't just get up on stage and you're like, hello. Like, no, you have to have a ton of energy, and you have to commit to it. And like you have, and different environments are different conversations. Like how you talk in New York is not how you talk in LA. And like how you talk in Sydney is not how you talk in Perth or something like that. Right. Like you need to understand your audience to an extent, So I was just done. And I like, that's when it was closer to the end of everything. And I said I need to take a break, and I need to mentally step back. And it was very shortly after that. I'm like, okay, I'm tapping out for a while.
So it's one of the questions I think a lot of people have. There's a lot of people out there who would love to speak professionally. It's kind of a goal for them. Then there's others like your brother, Evan, who I asked him to be on my show. I was surprised he agreed. And I
was very surprised too. Yeah.
Because he is not a public speaker. He would rather be anywhere else. That episode. It's going to be good, man. We're going to be talking about his music, his work as a music producer, and kind of. I think the focus of that show is going to be on pursuing your passion, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a good thing for a business channel. But I look at people who want to speak. And there are those of us who love being on a stage. There's no stage fright. It's a rush, right? There's this adrenaline rush when you're up there. And then others who have no interest in doing that. I mean, I think it was Jay Leno who said, most people would rather be in the casket at the funeral than giving the eulogy, right?
Yep.
Literally. And
true.
So how do you think, watching your dad's career, because I'm amazed how many times he speaks a year. It's just
he's the next level of psychopath. I agree.
Yeah, he's a beast. And how do you think how do you think, I've got two questions for you. One, how do you think the speakers maintain it? If you really want to be a professional speaker, how do you do it without burning out? Just because of
I think it's very hard if you're trying to become to that level. It's very hard to even get to that level. Like, I think that's challenge one. Like, most speakers will never have to deal with burnout because they'll never be able to speak that much.
What's the path? What is the path to someone getting there, do you think?
I mean, you really have to be good. Like, you really, really, really have to be like, you're good when you're just getting invited to speak constantly and like have to turn down engagements. Like, I got to a point in my life where I was getting invited to so many talks, and then I just turned down every talk, and now it's great. I don't get invited to as many speaking engagements, which I'm okay with. Like, I was never, speaking was not like my number one thing, you know. Me and Evan are very alike, but very different in the sense that I was totally, and still am, the guy behind the computer, but I can go and give a hell of a good talk if I need to. But it wasn't like my dad is a speaker first and foremost, and like, he loves speaking. It's not really like my number one. Like, I'm very good at it. I know I'm good at it. I've converted and spoken to hundreds of thousands of people at this point in my life. But yeah, it's very difficult to get to that level of like, that level of like where you're doing, let's say 100 talks a year, right? Because if you're doing 100 talks a year, like you can hit burnout, you know. And like, like when I finally, like, for the year before COVID, I was speaking a lot again. I was doing, just with one group, I was doing 12 times 4, I think, or 16 times 4. I was doing about 80 talks a year just for that one group. And that wasn't even a top of power team talks, you know, but it was interesting. I would do like 3 talks a day with one. Yeah. And like, it was nuts. And, you know, like, if you get to that level, I'll never forget, by the third talk, I would have a beer with every single one of my talks. So I'm like, if I don't have this beer, I'm not going to get through this talk. Like, and I told everyone in the room, like, hey, everyone, this is my third 90-minute talk, and they're all different talks. One would be on like conversion, one would be on social media, and one would be like how to follow up correctly using mobile, or something like that. I forget what the third talk was, because by that point I was so drained, I just needed the beer. And I would tell you, like, hey, I'm going to have a beer on this talk. If you want to join me, go grab a beer and come sit down. People loved it. It was the best talk of the day, by the way. Best talk of the day by far. But like, yeah, it's the burnout. It's tough to get to that level of burnout. I think one of the best ways that I can recommend, like, if you want to speak more and like get out there more, whatever it is that you're selling needs to own. Like it really, really need. And what I mean own is that it needs to get people massive results. Like, if people are constantly talking about, for lack of a better word, your shit, you will get booked to speak more. Like, if people are constantly talking about your stuff, and that's why one of the reasons I got booked so much is because I blew up in the affiliate marketing world, and everyone, like, you know, when you're 19 years old and beating every single person in affiliate, and beating tons of these guys in affiliate marketing contests, and like not even being able to get to use the contest or the prizes, because it was about 21 plus trips in Vegas and like casino chips, and so I couldn't even do any of that stuff. And you get a name for yourself quickly, and it's funny. You can go like search like old blog content about me, and it's funny to read that stuff. And I don't care about any of that stuff now. Like, for me, it was fun. I have no interest in doing that kind of stuff again. But yeah, like, create massive results in your whatever space you're in, and you'll get booked to speak like crazy.
Right. I'm seeing that myself, where I'm getting more and more invitations to come speak because we're building a name for ourselves. And I think you're absolutely right. The first and foremost step is to become that expert, become that guru. You know, make sure your content is really truly delivering results. And then the second part of it, and that gets us into really what you do today. Your primary business is you've got to get your message out there, right? You've got to make sure it doesn't do enough to build a brand if nobody knows about it. And so you have to have the results, and then you have to distribute that messaging. So let's talk about real quick PTI, what it is. Just put a plug for Power Team International, and then let's get into Olympics.
Yeah, Power Team's our parent company that we run everything through, in a sense that we run 100 50 plus events through there. We run all the companies that we funded run through Power Team, which we're like, it's a lot. Cause Power Team's a venture fund at its heart, and also all of our training programs run through there. So anything to get into like anything that we're doing under the Power Team umbrella, that's everything. Right. And then Power Team Media Group, which is the parent company of Mobex. And Mobex is our amazing, awesome, all-in-one marketing solution when it comes to being able to capture data, follow up with data, and build out pages and automations within 10 plus minutes, minus 10 minutes, and do it all through mobile and email for $100 a month. And I think it's like, we spent the last 2 years building out, in my opinion, the perfect CRM when it comes to managing and following up and being able to capture data. And I think that people spend so much time, and I talk about this in every one of my talks, people spend so much time trying to like perfect their stuff. And it's like, well, the problem is you spend so much time to perfect your stuff. You don't even have stuff. Like you don't even have a capture page that works. You don't even test your stuff. And so we've created an all-in-one solution for $100 a month so that Small Business America can really be able to send text right away, have a keyword that people can opt into, be able to create squeeze pages for, like, I hate to say it, but like some of these funnel creation processes for $400 a month seems like a lot for the average entrepreneur, So we built an all-in-one solution for $97 a month, and it's been awesome, and it's really starting to grow and scale, and we plan to scale that massively this year.
Well, when I first met your dad, I was invited to one of his lunches by my friends Simone and Rick Volheim, which I know you know. Mm-hmm. And he talked about Rainmaker. He talks about what it means to be a part of the Rainmaker tribe, if you will.
Yeah. Yep.
But one of the things that jumped out at me was the explanation of Mobex. It's one of the main reasons we decided to become a part of Rainmaker. We use it now every day. We're huge fans, and there was so much value that came out of it. Being able to start to build that brand and do the automated follow-up, do the, stay connected, build those relationships. First, the show, we're talking about how you built relationships with your clients like Les Brown and Jack Canfield, Sharon Lecter, and the likes. But imagine what you could have done in the last 10 years if you'd had Mobex that entire time.
Oh man, if we would have focused on text messaging instead of an email list 10 years ago,
can't even imagine.
Can't even imagine.
Right. So
crazy.
So we're coming up on our next break, and we're visiting with Austin Walsh of Power Team International, Mobex Pro. You've had a very diverse and distinctive career in your short time here on Earth. I mean, how old are you, Austin, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 31. I wanted to say 30, but I'm 31 now. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And you've done more in the last 15 years than most people do in 50, which is impressive, my friend. So let's go to break. We'll be right back, and we'll wrap up the conversation.
Follow us on Twitter at VoiceAmericaTRN. Get the lowdown on guests, new shows, and your favorites. That's VoiceAmericaTRN.
If you're a nonprofit in need of funding, we can help. Certainty Management is a cost reduction firm that also helps churches, schools, sports teams, and other nonprofits raise unlimited zero-cost funding. Best of all, you don't have to sell anything or ask for donations. Call 888-684-3122 to learn more today. That's 888-684-3122. Visit us on the web at CertaintyTeam.com. That's Certainty, T-E-A-M, like Mary.com.
Certainty Management can help create more certainty in your life with our deep discount health insurance options, even for 1099s, part-time employees, volunteers, and more. Pay less to protect yourself, your loved ones, and your team. Call 888-684-3122 for a free quote today. That's 888-684-3122. Visit us on the web at CertaintyTeam.com. That's Certainty, T-E-A-M, like Mary.com.
Be sure to like the Voice America Business channel on Facebook. You'll find out about up-to-the-minute business happenings and get ideas from entrepreneurs and business professionals. Search Voice America Business or click the like button under the player and stay ahead of the curve.
When it comes to business, you'll find the experts here. Voice America Business Network.
You are listening to Finding Certainty with Patrick Laing. Have a question for Patrick or his guests? Join us on the show at 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Now, back to the show with Patrick.
Welcome back, everybody. We're on Finding Certainty, visiting with Austin Walsh of Power Team International. And we were just talking about your automated marketing system. I mean, it's so much built into one. It's a funnel system. It's a text messaging system. There's a lot packed into it. I want to break it down a little bit more, but we're referring to Mobex Pro is the name of the company. And, we introduced it briefly, but break it down a little bit more. How does it work? Why is it so popular? Because we found it to be really great for our business. I know you're bringing on subscribers on a daily basis, and you use it in your own business. In fact, you beta tested it for 2 or 3 years before you.
Yeah, it was an internal tool for us for years. The whole process behind Mobex Pro is that, what do people need to grow a business, right? Well, they need leads, and then they need to be able to follow up with leads. And if they can't do those two things, then just don't even start. Really, like that's kind of what I narrow it down to.
I totally agree.
So we created a way so that people can generate leads in multiple ways. One, they can have a short code that people can text in you can take out your phone right now and text Mobex to 26786. And if you text that number in, we will follow up with you until you either opt out or buy. But we'll do it in a respectful way. But we'll send you texts, and we'll make sure that we stay in touch and send you value and send you good information for months and months to come. But we created a way that you can have every single time you're out, instead of saying, here's my business card, it's like, no, just text this code in and we'll be able to follow up with you. Or when you're on a stage, or when you're walking into someone's restaurant, here, there's the number for a 10% discount. When you're walking into the dentist, here's the number for a free whatever cleaning, whatever it is. But a way that people can, if they're in physical location, text the code in or QR the code, whatever. And then the second side of it, we create a way that you can create squeeze pages that have high converting rates within like 10 minutes. And the coolest part, or one of the coolest parts, is that Mobex is not like super techy. Okay. Everything is drag and drop. If you can't figure it out, then we have another course for you that's like really, really special. That we don't take many people into every single year, but it's for like, you really need help. Just kidding. But everything inside of Mobex is designed to be able to be done by the individual. You don't need like a ton of experts. You don't need us to help you, but we'll gladly will help you.
You don't need to be a programmer. You don't need.
No, you don't. Like it's.
I mean, I'm not that techie. I joke that I'm about as mechanical as a banana peel, and I figured it out. So if I can do it, anybody can do it, right?
Yeah, we really designed it with the intention of, how do we make it so user friendly that people are not going to be confused and not going to be overwhelmed? And really, at the end of the day, there's a few tabs in there you got to press. You got to press the keyword tab, create a keyword. You got to press the mobile page tab, create a mobile page. And you got to press the automation tab and create an automation. And if you can do those three things, if you can press 3 buttons, okay, you now have a funnel process set up that's going to automatically text or email your leads for weeks or months to come. And we priced it at $100 a month. So it's crazy affordable. We have a Facebook group that you can ask questions in that we post in now. We're posting it now almost daily. I talk to people almost daily in it. We have training calls like every month, so every 2 weeks, depending on what people need. You can always hop on the phone with us. And we really want it to be something that you feel like you're getting so much result and value out of it for the $100 a month that it's like, a no-brainer. It also includes a free Zoom Pro account. So if you're paying for Zoom now, you don't have to pay for it anymore. We'll pick up the tab for you on that. We have a great partnership with Zoom. There's just so many other bonuses, but you can go to mobexpro.com and see more of the details on it. That page is being redone at the moment. We've really spent the last 2 years making sure that the product was just awesomely insane. And the next thing we're adding to it, obviously, like AI is huge right now, but we're working on adding like AI responses to building out copywriting and that kind of stuff, which will be really, really cool. And can't talk too much about that, but we're constantly, my point is we're constantly working on making the product even cooler.
Well, so often, a company comes out with a software and they put all their time and money into marketing and branding and promoting it. You haven't done that at all.
No.
You put your time into your time and money and effort into proving that it works and making it work well. And you used it internally for a long time before you even rolled it out to the public. And I know you said this next month you're going to be focusing on some.
This is the first month. This is the first month where we've spent actual money on any form of like marketing per se on Mobex. Like, right. So we've just spent around, I don't know, a lot, multiple figures, I guess, just on sales pages and redoing copy and building out videos. And it's the first time we've actually spent money on Mobex when it comes to the marketing side of it. Now, on the development side of it, I don't even want to talk about that, right? But we have not tried to promote it other than like when I speak or talk. We haven't I can't remember the last time I made a post like, go sign up for Mobex. Like, that's just not my thing. We really wanted to make sure that the product internally from about the 150 users was working out so well, and that people love the product and we're getting results from the product. And we've done that. So.
Well, and that organic growth is exactly how you've built your business. You and your dad, it's been a proactive effort, but you worked on the content and the delivery and the result first, and then the growth has come. I mean, it's word of mouth, it's referral, it's
we're going to launch a great affiliate program too. So anyone that is using it now will be really, really excited to go. And when you're getting paid like $1,000 a month, just refer people. And it'll be $1,000 every single month. You'll be really happy with it. So
that's fantastic. So I hear we have a caller waiting in the wings. Has a question for us. I want to send them in if that's all right.
Fire them.
Hey,
Mr.
how you doing,
Frank?
Patrick?
Is it Frank Hellring, right?
Absolutely, Patrick. How you doing?
Welcome, my friend. Frank's another host on Voice America. Thanks for listening to our show this morning.
Cool.
What an amazing show. Absolutely amazing. Austin, you have created a monster, man.
I like to think some days I have.
Yeah, you certainly have. And I've been talking on my show about the value of small business entering into the virtual world. In fact, I'm in negotiations right now with Voice America to become one of the members of the host advisory board that oversees several hundred shows on the network.
Cool.
And this application that you're talking about here, I'll tell you, it's heaven sent. And I'm going to be doing a virtual moment like a 2 and 2 on my show where I'm educating small businesses of the value of entering this world. So I think you and I need to talk, big guy.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it. I don't know how
we'll set it up.
Contact info to you, but I can definitely, if you add me on Facebook at Austin William Walsh, I'll accept you right back.
Yeah, I can get you there.
Outstanding. Patrick, thanks so much for spending the time. Finish up your show. I'll talk to you soon, Austin. Have a great day.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Buddy. I can get you his information. Awesome. Cool. Frank and I do a lot together, so
cool.
He listens to my show fairly often. I try to catch his as often as I can, but it's funny because one of the things I love about you, and I referred to you in the episode as a chip off the old block, from your dad, but you're really your own person. You have your own style. I
think he's stolen some swag from me, man. I'm just throwing it out there. He's stolen the swag, and I'm fine with it. I've accepted it. Bill never used to swear on stage. I was the one that started doing that because I was mad at and I never did it before, but I started to get mad over little shit. So I started to swear on stage, and it was just me being me. Like, it wasn't. And now he does it because the audience like pays more attention. You know, like man, the swag has been jacked, but it's okay.
Well, I think it's a testament to the fact that, you come from good stock. You've learned from one of the best, but you have made your own path. You've built your own business. You built your own name. You have experts like Les Brown and others calling you, asking you for your help. Not because you're Bill Walsh's son, because of your expertise and because of the results, as we've been talking about, that you deliver them. So my hat's off to you, my friend.
I think it's important to understand, like, especially like if you're a younger person or you're an older person listening to this and your kid's trying to follow in some form of footsteps, like you have to carve out your own niche, right? Like, I knew that my dad was a really big speaker back in the day. And like, when I started to see that, and like, I didn't want to be Michael Jordan's kid trying to play basketball. So I knew what he did. He does business consulting. And I'm like, I don't want to consult on business then. Now I'm going to go focus on this side of stuff. I'm going to go be an expert at this kind of thing. Now, do I understand like how to consult on? Yeah, sure. But that's not what I talked about people about. Like, my focus is on the internet, which he was not good at. Arguably still has some challenges, but we're working on it. And that's like, you have to focus and do what you love and what you are great at. And don't just follow in footsteps, and so you have to carve out your own area.
Yeah, we were talking about how to avoid burnout as a speaker or a trainer or a consultant, and it is delivering results. It's making sure you're really good at what you do, but I think it's also you have to love what you do. You have to be passionate about it, because if you don't
love what you do, and I think balance is so important.
Right, like, they say if you love what you do, you never feel like you're going to work. Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if you love what you do, but balance is important. Like going from someone that spoke hundreds of times a year to speaking now publicly, or like on stage, is probably less than 40 times a year, 40 times a year now. I think balance is so important. Once you can find that balance and understand, like, the best thing an entrepreneur has in their ability, like in our entire arsenal, the best thing we have in our ability is the ability to say no. Like, it's the coolest thing ever, and people don't do it enough. And I've learned that probably in like the last 2-3 years, like, the ability to say no is one of the greatest tools that we have. And you just can't say yes to everything. Like, saying no is so powerful sometimes. So I know our show's wrapping up, but I guess like that's one of the tidbits of advice I could definitely give you, is like, saying no is sick.
Right.
So
it's
good.
Powerful. It's a great comment. So how do people get a hold of you if they have questions? You said
the easiest way to get a hold of me is probably on Facebook at Austin William Walsh. You can also text in Mobex, the number 26786. But if you message me on Facebook, Austin William Walsh, I'm pretty quick at that. I'm also on Twitter at Austin Walsh if you use Twitter. And those are like the easiest ways to get a hold of me for sure. But texting Mobex to 26786 works really well. Austin William Walsh on Facebook, at Austin Walsh on Twitter. You hit me at any three of those places, I usually get back pretty quickly.
So
and I want to thank you so much for having me on the show today. This has been a lot of fun. It's probably one of the most fun talks I've had in a while, when it comes to just, most of these podcasts are pretty lazy, or where you just go on and you speak for 90 minutes and they're like, okay, great job. I appreciate the effort and the work you do to make this an actually entertaining and enjoyable experience for both of us, and not just thanks for coming on by, type of thing.
I appreciate that. It's funny, when I was first asked to be the show, create this show, I said, do I have to be Frank Hellring? I love Frank, but his style's very different from mine. And the thing that Robert Chilino, the GM, said to me, he said, just be authentic, be yourself.
Yep.
And Frank has a style, you have your style. Austin, you have yours, your dad has his, you're very different, but it's complementary. And if you become that expert, if you're passionate about what you do, and then if you just be authentic, be real, right? You're very real. And that's what I like about you, man. So
yeah, it's important.
Thanks for being on the show. I really appreciate it. Everybody, come on back next Friday if you can. We're going to have another guest. Really looking forward to Michael Fompkin of VIP Ignite, who shout out to Michael. Regrettably, he lost his mother this last week. Still,
he'll be an amazing guest.
Yesterday. He is going to be phenomenal. I even invited him to reschedule because of what's going on with his mom. There. He said, "Nope, let's do it." That's just a testament to the kind of guy he is. So, thanks again for being here, Austin. Really appreciate it. And
appreciate it.
Looking forward to seeing where the next 15 years bring you, man.
We'll see.
You're going to turn heads everywhere you go, I know. So congrats and keep on keeping on.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode of Finding Certainty. We hope you've gained some more insight into how to create more certainty in your own business or nonprofit. Join us next week for another taste of the Certainty Experience. Until then, we wish you greater certainty in all that you do.